Yo, listen up, here's a story about a little guy that lives in a blue world. And all day and all night and everything he sees is just blue, like him, inside and outside blue.
While I've been working away at my Valentine's Day special, I thought I'd release a shorter video to hold everyone over until then. And what better subject to make a video about than my second favorite animatronic, my favorite being Roxanne Wolf, Barney. Yes, the one who was meant to be the star of the franchise until Scott Cawthon realized bears are scarier than rabbits and illiterate titles sell better because they're catchy. Many will argue that the rabbit stole the starring role from Freddy and became the main antagonist anyways, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to discuss Bonnie's color and how most of us had it wrong this whole entire time. Yes, you just tuned into a video that is about a guy going over the color of an animatronic rabbit. But don't click off this video, because there's quite the interesting history to why we all thought he was purple when he's been blue the whole time. I find it funny how often I think I'm so stupid with this franchise when I come up with a theory that is proven wrong, or mixed up characters like Baby and Eleanor. Then I notice little details that nobody seems to talk about with really interesting histories, and I sometimes wonder if I'm being too hard on myself. Nah, I'm not being strict enough with what I know. Tell me your secrets, rabbit. So anyways, about Bonnie's color. If you believe that Bonnie was supposed to be purple this whole time, don't beat yourself up for getting it wrong. Even companies responsible for making official merchandise thought this was his official color. Actually, it was the merchandise mostly responsible for confusing everyone about Bon Bon's palette. This has upset Scott Cawthon to no end because fans have been confused and warred over why certain versions of this rabbit are blue while others are purple. In an article I researched for this video on comic book resources written by Jeremy Dick, Scott Cawthon finally stepped in and spoke officially about Bonnie's color because the costume designers for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie were gonna make him purple too. Yes, we were really close to having a purple Bonnie in the movie until Scott stepped in and said, "That Bonnie ain't right." Now, why do most people think he's purple? Well, this has to do with the lighting from when Scott Cawthon was posing the models and setting up the images he used for the final game. The way Scott Cawthon made Five Nights at Freddy's when it came to the characters and location, and I can't believe how little this is talked about, is that he 3D modeled the characters' restaurants and rooms first, then posed and adjusted each character's angle to look just right in front of the cameras like a film director before applying the lighting. This is so cool, and it really proves how Five Nights at Freddy's wasn't that simple of a game to make. If you want to know why I enjoy Five Nights at Freddy's so much, it's because of the love and dedication the creator put into his games. Lighting is a tricky thing to get right, and a lot of shots can be ruined if your characters and environments don't get the proper amount of exposure. All the images in Five Nights at Freddy's have little to no lighting. Scott had to shine some light on the mascots, or else we couldn't see them, but he had to keep the atmosphere creepy and unsettling, so he was forced to place them in dark areas where the light could barely touch them. Blue is a difficult color to stick out in low lighting conditions, especially if you're not using yellow lights. Scott Cawthon used orange lighting during the development of his game, and that's why Bonnie appeared purple. Here, I can prove it with this example. Hello everyone, and welcome to a little experiment we're going to perform. So now, as you can see, there is a blue square in the middle of a black canvas. This is a very crude setup that I have, and what I'm going to do is I am now going to apply my low orange lighting to this blue square in this dark area, and watch what happens. Well, I don't know about you, but this blue square now looks really purple. Huh. Isn't that interesting? Now, I just want to further prove what Scott Cawthon was saying was right, because now I found an image of Bonnie in his proper blue coloring, and I am going to apply the same lighting that I did to the square to this blue Bonnie. And oh, would you look at that? It's hard to tell what color Bonnie is in this low orange light. Some would argue that he's gray. Some might argue that he's even purple. Huh. Imagine that. What low lighting can do. So yeah, so this right here proves that what Scott Cawthon was saying, that due to the lighting, that is what made Bonnie purple. So I'll just go back to square. Square looks purple, but if we take the lighting off, square is blue. Now this only does work with dark blue. The reason why this blue looks so bright right here is because I have it in the middle of all of this black on this canvas that I'm using. Bright blue actually doesn't really work well with this little lighting trick, and it's why it's kind of hard to tell on this proper blue Bonnie, because this Bonnie right here is actually using the same kind of blue that the movie Bonnie did. And movie Bonnie actually uses a brighter shade of blue when for like the costume and stuff, so that even in low lighting conditions you could tell that he's a blue rabbit. But even at this level of blue in this dark area, when you apply the lighting, it still does some trickery with our brains and creates a disconnect between the coloring that he's supposed to be. So yeah, this is an experiment that you can perform at home. If you have the program Autodesk Sketchbook, all you need to do is just draw like an orange circle or a blob as I did, set the opacity down to 25 to simulate lighting, then just make a blue square or have blue rabbits, and then you just put the transparent orange lighting over your rabbits or over your blue square, and you basically achieve the same lighting effect that Scott Cawthon got in his games when he was developing it. So, yeah. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. But even without the example I've shown, I can prove that Bonnie was blue in the first game with the official in-game images. If you shine the office door light on Bonnie, since it's a white light, Bonnie's true color is shown and it's blue! Take some of the other images and brighten them up and oh my god, he's blue! He's blue! The goddamn rabbit is blue! Even in the trailer for the game, which came out before the launch of Five Nights at Freddy's, he's blue! Scott Cawthon wasn't lying to us. He made the blue bunny blue, and the strawberries taste like strawberries. This lighting error was a blessing in disguise for Scott Cawthon, whether he liked people thinking Bonnie was purple or not. It might have helped him avoid legal trouble with a certain publisher who has a famous blue mascot when Five Nights at Freddy's was just getting started. When Five Nights at Freddy's 2 launched and I first played it, I thought Scott was just trolling Sega at this point when I saw Toy Bonnie, because I mean, just look at him! Toy Bonnie is a very, very blue rabbit with bright green eyes and rosy red cheeks. If you don't know why I'm making a big deal about this, let me give you a little history on Sonic the Hedgehog's creation. Sega held a contest within the company to create a mascot that could surpass Mario. The mascot design that nearly won was a rabbit who would pick up objects and throw them with his ears. Given this contest was held in the late 80s, early 90s, and Five Nights at Freddy's 2 takes place in 1987, okay, this isn't a coincidence. Now, I don't think Scott was tempting Sega with a lawsuit, nor do I have confirmation that Toy Bonnie was based on an early design for Sonic, but it's very possible and highly likely that this design of Toy Bonnie was a homage to Sonic's history and what could have been. Didn't know Scott Cawthon was a Sonic fan. Although this did make me think of something within the FNAF universe. What if Fazbear Entertainment is the stand-in for Sega, and this is what Scott Cawthon imagined would happen to the company if they didn't discover hedgehogs existed? Sonic was originally meant to be part of a band, and oh my god. The rabbit hole is endless!
Pun entirely intended.
Fazbear Entertainment made games and TV shows of their characters just like Sega, although Sega started out making gambling machines and not mascot-themed restaurants. Even if Fazbear Entertainment isn't the Sega of Scott Cawthon's universe, a blue rabbit in a band of other anthropomorphic animals who was designed to run down the hallway before that job was given to Foxy makes you really wonder if this was intentional. What would the story of Five Nights at Freddy's have been like if Fazbear Entertainment was a failed video game developer turned restaurant chain who found success in marketing their robots? Then again, given Scott Cawthon's history before FNAF, maybe writing about people who made unsuccessful games would have been a little too on the nose. Despite Bonnie being blue, errors within the franchise make Bonnie purple to this day. Bonnie's plush is purple, as were his action figures when they were first released. Bonnie on the cover of the Silver Eyes comic adaptation is purple, despite being blue in the pages of the actual comic. Twisted Bonnie is also purple in the comic adaptation, but this is more forgivable since the artist for that comic doesn't work closely with the franchise. Hopefully we'll get re-releases of Bonnie's figurines and other merch with this correct blue color. Some people will still argue to this day that Bonnie is either purple or looks better purple. Blue happens to be one of my favorite colors, so I'm fine with him being a blue bunny in a blue world. How many times have I said blue in this video? Thank you for watching this video all the way through, because that has made you my and Bonnie's shining star.
I'm blue,